Hey Mount Scott family, Stuart here. I'm following up on a video Denise did last Sunday where we're looking at trying to keep you updated on the process of our merger discussions with New Hope. And so last week she talked about what type of merger we're looking at doing, and today I thought it would be nice to talk to you about the timeline for this merger. So we've got 5 stages in this merger timeline. And the first one is entitled Exploration, and it's actually been completed. It began mid-April and ended June 4th. And this is where the idea of the merger was actually put on the table for discussion. We consulted with outside counsel to seek advice. We were asked to read a book entitled Better Together. We met leadership from New Hope. They got to know us. We spent time in prayer. And at the conclusion of stage 1, we all felt that there was growing momentum towards this concept of a merger, so we pressed forward into stage 2 entitled Negotiations. And that began June 5th and is scheduled to run through the end of this month. Negotiations is where key leaders sense growing momentum and we create a path towards a merger. So what have we done? We had a Zoom meeting with the Board of Elders over at New Hope, along with our board, our directors, and we got to know each other. Introductions were made. We spent time in prayer, and it was a very warm feeling. So that took place early on. We put together 3 different merger teams. There's the Mount Scott merger team, the New Hope merger team, and a joint merger team. And all 3 of these teams are meeting weekly. There is a group of us, the 2 chairs are meeting along with the senior pastors on Tuesday mornings, where we're just trying to make sure we're staying connected and we're thinking through and praying through all aspects of this merger. That's been very healthy. We are trying to figure out best ways to communicate. You guys, some of you participated at the communication opportunities we gave on a Sunday afternoon in our sanctuary. We've been doing Monday musing updates on the merger. We are looking at these videos now as another asset for communicating, and say New Hope's done Zoom meetings for their congregation. And we want to make sure we are always communicating as new information is coming out. We're working on what we're calling a fact sheet, which is frequently asked questions. This will be available on both churches' websites, and basically, like it says, it's frequently asked questions, and there will be answers for everybody to look at. And if you see a question that isn't on there and you'd like to ask it, please ask, and we'll do our darndest to answer it, and hopefully we can. I know we can. We'll figure it out. But we need to know what's on your hearts too as you navigate these waters with us. We're also wrestling through, in the book, has 24 specific issues that need to be discussed. And so Denise next week is going to give you all an overview of what those are, so you get a feel for where we are right now on these discussions. And please be praying with us as we really navigate that piece, because that's a huge piece that we really want to do right for both churches' sakes. So the idea is, once we get through stage 2, both leadership teams will then make a recommendation on whether or not Mount Scott will join the New Hope family in the adoption model discussed last week. On to stage 3, which is entitled Implementation. It would begin September 1st and run through October 2nd. And here's where the leadership team from Mount Scott and New Hope would agree that Mount Scott would join New Hope in the adoption model. So as we work through this one, we would look at creating a post-merger team and an integration process. We would begin to hold town hall gatherings and do updates, answer questions. We would create a facility team to look at doing updates to our building and even our property. We'd look at updating all of our equipment in the sanctuary. There's so much technology that New Hope can bring to the equation to make our worship experience so much better. And during this period, we'd look at staffing and job descriptions, and we would then, towards the end of stage 3, vote on the merger. So our Mount Scott congregation would vote, and New Hope would seek affirmations as to wanting to go forward with this merger. And I'll let John at some point talk a little bit more about that. And then we go to stage 4. Stage 4 is where we consolidate. It's called consolidation, October 3rd through October 30th. What we're saying here is, hey, we're doing this. God's DNA is all over this, and we're feeling like this is such a God thing that we're doing this. So what we would do during this time period is, again, October 3rd through the 30th, is both congregations would hold their final gatherings. We would make sure all the legal requirements have been executed. We would begin to execute new systems and procedures. And again, we would just be communicating all through this process. And the fun part is, during this period, we would actually hold our first joint service together as a new church family. So the conclusion here is Mount Scott and New Hope begin to function as one church. And then we move to stage 5, beginning November 1st and running through January 31st. This is entitled Integration. This is where New Hope has adopted Mount Scott family to be part of its community. So during this time period, we would conduct post-merger evaluations. We do want to know how we're doing. We're going to want to hear from everybody. We want to hear goods and bads. We're going to host gatherings for the staff and elder and key leaders where we just celebrate the journey we've been on and celebrate what God's done and what He's going to do. We would have some town halls for our neighbors, because the neighbors have been very interested in what Mount Scott's doing with our property and buildings. So this is going to be exciting for them to learn about the merger and the new opportunities coming out of it. And during this period, we'll also probably be beginning some updates to our building. So the story ends this way in the timeline. The merger of Mount Scott and New Hope has created a better story. So I hope that gives you a little bit of an idea of the timeline and all the pieces that are within that. And please continue to join us in prayer, and look for next Sunday's update, where Denise will be talking about the 24 issues that are being discussed now. God bless all. Thanks again for joining me.